Hey, I'm Sorrel Bryn, a visibility strategist. I basically teach machines who you are and when to recommend you. And I have come across a campaign that I think is one of the most perfect examples that I've ever seen of the gap that exists between SEO best practices and the emerging best practices for AEO. So let me lay this out for you. So I'm working with a brand that falls into a YMYL category. YMYL meaning your money, your life. So these are categories that are typically around health and education, finance, wealth management, that kind of thing, right? These are categories that search engines and AI systems typically put guardrails around, meaning they're very particular about who they recommend for different categories, who they recommend when it comes to things that can really immediately and possibly detrimentally impact people's lives, right? But this brand has earned its keep in this category. Well respected, been in the business for years, has plenty of relationships with tier one publications. So they're showing up in all the listicles, being recommended, an army of affiliates, performing really well with their SEO, meaning that their impressions are up year over year. Their traffic is increasing. It looks like a slam dunk, right? But their competitors, and not just competitors, but contenders, are eating their lunch. How can this be? I saw three things right off rip, right? So let's talk about those three things. The first thing is zero-click environments are playing a significant role in what's happening with their traffic. What you can see is year over year, both their impressions and the traffic are going up, but the gap between the impressions and the traffic is widening, even though traffic is on the rise. But a lot of their website was optimized for SEO. And that means that a lot of the pages on the website, not an insignificant percentage of their pages, are now answering questions that are now being answered in zero-click environments. Stuff that they built tools for and have entire sections of their sites, of a hub of information dedicated to, can now be answered, in AI overview in just a couple of paragraphs. So that's part of it, right? Users that would have deepened their relationship or deepened their trust by going to the brand's website, using their awesome tool, or going through more content, they don't have to do that anymore. And so a lot of times they don't, right? Number two, SEO strategy relied heavily on generating awareness through sponsored content. And awareness is not the same as trust. Awareness is visibility. And so you have this situation where they're showing up everywhere, but there isn't really they're showing up in ways that don't really deepen trust with their prospects. And the reason they're not able to deepen trust with their prospects is number three. LLMs can't access their website, not the sitemap, not intent pages, not content hubs, none of that. And that just means that the only real visibility that they have out in the wider web is being mirrored back from the affiliate content and from the sponsor content that they're getting on tier one publications. But again, those are awareness plays. Now, how do I know they're awareness plays? Because listicles and affiliates optimize for traffic. They optimize for attention because they actively sell attention, right? So they're trying to get the most traffic, and the way to get the most traffic is to optimize for top funnel queries, right? That is what's happening. A lot of their social signals, a lot of their social proof is real and it's valid and it's earned, but it stops at awareness. They don't have a way to be able to get people kind of mid funnel or bottom funnel because LLMs can't access their website. And what happens when LLMs can't access their website is that when people go in and ask those more nuanced, personalized, what would have been like a long tail question about how do I do this, and I'm having this particular problem, or this is what I'm planning for, or this is what I'm dealing with, the LLMs can't access their website so they can't confidently recommend them. And if they can't it's not even just a matter of confidently recommending them. If they can't access the website, they can't extract the information that they would need in order to show in AI environments to be able to recommend them. So they have an extractability problem, right? They're legible, they're even eligible. They are just not extractable. And as a result, competitors are able to slip in with their extractable content and become the answer to a query that that most certainly probably would have gone to my client had the website been accessible. So what's the fix? I mean, obviously, first and foremost, unblock the website. Let's make the website accessible. Number two, we're going to have to double down on earned media and pitch insights instead of buying traffic. That's number two. Got to do some earned media. And then number three, zero in on sales conversations that are actually happening with their ICP. And the reason I say that is because now they're playing catch up, right? Now they got like nobodies and people who haven't earned their flowers coming in and being authoritative and everything. So the fastest path for them to be able to hop back in and not necessarily surpass their competitors, but be able to make sure that they're pulling in the right people is to understand exactly what's happening in those sales calls, what themes are emerging, what pain points are being voiced, and be able to answer those specifically on their website in a way that's extractable, that machines can actually grab it, so that when those conversations are happening in AI systems, the machines can go and get that information from their website and say, hey, these guys might have a solution for you. So there you go. I thought that was like really interesting. The affiliate part was like really interesting because I was like, I remember when they were saying like we can go and get more affiliates. We can show up on more listicles. I was like, yeah, that's not the answer. I don't know why yet, but I'm sure that's not the answer, because that stuff optimizes for top funnel, and top funnel is not where they're lacking. They're lacking in the mid, like they're lacking at that decision stage, that trust building consideration, and then the decision stage. So I hope this has been useful for you. As far as that gap between SEO and AEO, you really do have to have content on your website that machines can look at and extract and show in AI environments. Otherwise, your competitors can come in and eat your lunch.